On December 24th, 25th, news feeds fill with Christmas trees, concerts, and politicians' greetings. But in those same days, real-world events occur that leave doctors speechless, rescuers in disbelief, and headlines screaming, "Miracle." Soldiers climb out of trenches in the midst of war. Newborns are found in impossible places, and they survive. People come back to life where medicine has already given up. And almost always, it happens around Christmas. Today, 10 short, real Christmas stories with names, dates, and places. After them, the phrase Christmas miracle will sound completely different. Story 1. The Christmas Truce of 1914. Western Front, Belgium, Flanders region. The night of December 24 through 25, 1914. British units faced German, Saxon, and Baden divisions. Between the trenches, sometimes just 30 to 40 meters, the distance usually measured by a bullet's flight time. In the evening, the Germans began placing small Christmas trees with candles on the parapet and singing Stille Nacht. British Corporal Bill Tucker recalled, "At first, everyone thought it was a trap, but within minutes, the first Noel rang out from the British side in response." On the morning of December 25th, soldiers from both sides climbed out of the trenches unarmed on their own initiative. German Kurt Zimmer and Englishman Alfred Anderson decades later recounted how on no man's land they exchanged cigarettes, chocolate, canned goods, and showed each other family photos. There, between the front lines, priests held impromptu services and joint burials of the dead. In the Ypres area, soldiers even organized soccer matches, using helmets as goalposts. Command on both sides was furious. Later, such incidents were strictly suppressed. But the fact remains, in Christmas 1914, a major war halted on part of the front, not by order, but because thousands of soldiers on the same day decided that shooting was too much. Story 2. John Smith and the Lake in Missouri. Lake St. Louis, Missouri, USA. January 19, 2015. Midwinter break. Christmas season. 3 14-year-old boys went out on the frozen lake. The ice cracked. John Smith went under. According to rescuers' reports, he was underwater for about 15 minutes before they pulled him out. In the ambulance and then in the ER at St. Joseph West Hospital, doctors recorded no breathing or pulse for nearly 45 minutes. The resuscitation team followed protocol strictly. Chest compressions, adrenaline, defibrillation, no response. Dr. Kent Sutterer was about to declare time of death. At that moment, John's mother, Joyce Smith, entered the room. She began praying aloud. In her words, she said, "Holy Spirit, please come and give me back my son." Almost immediately after, a weak pulse appeared on the monitor. The boy was transferred to Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital in St. Louis. Brain damage prognosis was extremely severe. But within days, John regained consciousness and later returned to normal life without serious neurological consequences. The case was thoroughly reviewed by medics. In 2019, a film, Breakthrough, was made about it. Both doctors and the family in interviews call what happened a direct miracle of the Christmas season. A moment medicine still couldn't fully explain. Story 3. Baby Noel in Philadelphia. Philadelphia, Strawberry Mansion neighborhood. December 21, 2011. 50-year-old church worker Homer Keller from Evangelistic Temple Church went out to the church on Susquehanna Avenue to clean up trash. Near a pile of bags, he noticed an ordinary cardboard box. About to toss it in the dumpster, Keller suddenly heard a faint sound and first thought it was a kitten inside. He lifted the lid. In the box lay a newborn girl, completely naked. The umbilical cord not fully processed. Age, about 5 hours. The baby was wrapped in whatever was at hand and brought inside the church, then rushed to St. Christopher's Hospital for Children. Doctors noted an astonishing fact. Despite the December cold and several hours on the street, the child's condition was very good, without life-threatening hypothermia. Police gave the girl the temporary name Baby Noel, a Christmas infant. Philadelphia police spokesman Ray Evers told ABC News that the box was dangerously close to where garbage trucks pick up. A couple more hours and the outcome could have been fatal. The story hit national news. Dozens of families called, wanting to adopt the girl. The biological mother was never found. For the church parishioners, doctors, and rescuers, this case became a harsh yet symbolic reminder. In Christmas days, life is sometimes literally on the edge, and minutes decide everything. Story 4. The Woman in the Snow of British Columbia. In December 2008, Canadian media ran a story called The Christmas Miracle in British Columbia. In British Columbia province, a 55-year-old woman drove off in her car during a snowstorm and didn't return. The car was found abandoned on a forest road. Weather worsened. Night temperatures dropped below zero. Police and volunteers organized searches with snowmobiles and from the air. 1 day, 2, 3. Chances dwindled. After several days, one searcher spotted an unusual snowdrift. In it, a small dip and some outlines. People started digging and found under about 3 meters of snow a woman, alive, in severe hypothermia, but conscious. According to rescuers, she sheltered in a depression, and snow gradually covered her, creating something like an igloo. Inside it was cold, but not as deadly as in the wind. Doctors openly told journalists that survival in such conditions and time was near impossible. Local newspapers and TV directly called it a Christmas miracle in the snow. Story 5. Tracy Hermansdorfer and the Birth in Colorado Springs. Evening of December 24, 2009. Colorado Springs Memorial Hospital. Christmas Eve began for Tracy Hermansdorfer as a holiday she'd remember forever. Her first child was about to be born. Home already decorated, artificial tree twinkling in the corner. On TV in the background, some Christmas movie. The kind where everything ends well for the heroes. Suddenly, sharp pain. Breathing falters, and instead of a cozy family evening, she's rushed to the nearest hospital. In the maternity ward corridor, Christmas garlands look almost mocking. Doctors see something's wrong. During contractions, Tracy's heart stops. The monitor, recently tracing green peaks, shows a flat line. She isn't breathing. For medics, this isn't a movie or metaphor. It's death. Husband looks at her still face and tries to feel a pulse, though he already knows. Hope is fading. The team makes a desperate decision. Emergency C-section to at least try saving the child. They deliver the baby, and the operating room grows even quieter. He isn't breathing, crying, or moving. For endless minutes, doctors work on 2 bodies that by all rules should already be called lost on Christmas. Someone later admits, the phrase for the medical record was already forming in their head. But suddenly the baby's chest jerks, as if pushed from inside. One raspy breath, then another, and the monitor revives with faint beats. Doctors don't cheer. They lack strength, but their looks say they've just seen something not to reduce to dry, rare outcome. And right then comes the second part of the miracle. As they hand the child to neonatologists, the monitor by Tracy's bed beeps briefly, almost offensively modest. The flat line twitches. The heart, considered stopped for good, suddenly beats again. Without new defibrillation, without extra intervention, doctors turn to her as if a ghost entered the room. Days later, Tracy talks to her husband and holds son Colton, born that night. For medics, it's a rare medical anomaly. For the family, a Christmas miracle hard to believe, even for those who witnessed it. Story 6. Mother and son reunion at Lowe's store. Pre-Christmas bustle. In a big Lowe's home improvement store, people grab garlands, decorations, last-minute gifts. Every day, the same route for delivery driver Steve Flagg. He picks up invoices, greets cashiers, and heads out. Steve was adopted and always knew his biological mother was somewhere, but searches led nowhere. One December evening, reviewing old papers, he spots a mistake in the mother's surname. An extra letter. Why he'd searched the wrong person for decades. Corrects it, and immediately finds a woman's profile in his city. Next day at work, tells his boss, I found her. Surname Talady. Boss. Wait, Christine Talady? She's our senior cashier. Turns out Steve's biological mother, Christine, had worked with him in the same store for months. They crossed paths dozens of times in aisles, exchanged casual Merry Christmas, and didn't know. Through the agency, they arrange a meeting. For her, it's like a shock. Son she gave up 22 years ago. For him, answer, does she remember me? Meeting in the store's regular room, but emotions, pure Christmas movie finale, tears, hugs, new family. Steve gains half-siblings. Media called it an incredible Christmas coincidence. And Steve says, best gift under the tree. A person thought lost forever. Story 7. The Phantom Truck Driver. In collections of American Christmas miracles, they often tell the story of a couple driving a deserted, snowy highway somewhere in rural America on Christmas Eve. They run out of gas, temperature drops, almost no signal. Engine stops, cabin cools fast. Husband steps out on the road, knowing miles of emptiness around. Wife stays in the car, bundled in everything available. After some time, a pickup stops in front of them. Driver, an elderly man in an old jacket, asks no extra questions. Pulls out a canister, gives fuel, checks the engine, offers to follow him to the nearest station and motel. Couple in shock tries to memorize the plate, but then just falls asleep in the motel, exhausted from cold and stress. Morning. Decide to find the savior. Go to the same station and hear from locals that the description of the elderly man in that jacket, on that pickup, matches a person who died years ago and often helped stranded drivers on that highway. You can chalk it up to distorted memory and coincidences, but the specific husband and wife tell this story every December as their personal Christmas miracle. That night, someone came to us anyway. Story 8. The Baby in the Manger in Queens, New York. Queens, New York, November 23, 2015. A month before Christmas, but in holiday news, this case was called the Nativity Baby Miracle. A store worker entered the Catholic Holy Child Jesus Church in Richmond Hill and heard quiet crying. Approached the nativity scene with figures of Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, and saw a live, newborn boy in the straw. Umbilical cord not processed, child just hours old. Security cameras showed a young woman entered with the baby, placed him, and left. Pastor Father Christopher Henley told journalists, "We set up the birth of Christ scene every year, and here someone literally brought us a child." The boy was temporarily called Christmas Miracle Baby. For the community, it became a powerful symbol. The Christmas story sometimes repeats in real life, in the most unexpected way. Story 9. Anonymous gifts to a family in need. In guideposts and Moms for America publications, they shared the story of an American family that one Christmas season hit total financial collapse. Father lost his job, debts grew, no money even for food, let alone gifts. On Christmas Eve, parents whispered about how to tell the kids there'd be no holiday. Evening knock at the door, no one there. Just boxes, groceries, toys, envelope with cash, an anonymous note with words of support. None of neighbors or relatives later admitted. Family insisted. They told almost no one about problems. For the kids, it was like in a movie. Thought no Christmas, and it came. For parents, proof that sometimes someone becomes a secret Santa and helps so you can't even say thank you. Story 10. Grandpa's Clock and the Note. In collections of real Christmas miracles, they tell of a family that lost Grandpa, the main keeper of holiday spirit. After his death, Christmas became formality. Old grandfather clock in the living room, wound only by him, stopped forever. One Christmas, relatives gathered, placed his photo on the mantle. Heavy mood. Exactly at midnight, December 24 to 25, the clock suddenly came alive. Pendulum swung, hands moved, chimes rang. Family rushed to the mechanism, and from a hidden compartment fell Grandpa's note. He said goodbye and asked not to turn the holiday into mourning, but rejoice as before. He could have left the note years ago during repair, but the coincidence, Christmas midnight, only startup in years, and letter, became for the family a personal signal. I'm with you. After that night, the clock never ran again. All these stories can be explained. Rare coincidences, physics laws, luck. But why exactly in Christmas days so many coincidences hit news under Christmas miracle? One year, war silences itself. Another, a baby found steps from death. Third, clock silent for years revives at midnight to deliver a final greeting. Believe it or not, but these are real people, real dates, real lives, forever changed. And maybe in your life, there was such a moment. When everything aligned too perfectly to call it chance? Share your Christmas story in the comments.